I was devastated when I discovered my wife's adultery during quarantine. Despite her objections, I divorced her and went on. Life throws curveballs, and I never expected to share my tale on Reddit. 7 years married to Lizzie, 33, I'm 35. We were computer science majors with tech dreams when we met in our sophomore year of college. I remember our first meeting. Both of us were studying for a difficult algorithms exam in the college library. We studied together after Lizzie borrowed my notes. After numerous study sessions, we became inseparable. Coding, sci-fi movies, and bad jokes united us. We moved in together after graduating and working at city tech businesses. Our relationship was flawed. We always resolved our difficulties. 3 years into our relationship, Lizzie's mom was afflicted with cancer. I supported her throughout. We held hands during hospital visits, made sure she ate when she forgot, and listened when she wanted to vent. We struggled when her mom died a year later, but it pushed us closer. Our intimate wedding in Lizzie's hometown was attended by friends and relatives. The early years of marriage were good. Both gained job advancement. Bought a nice suburban house and discussed having kids. We had ups and downs, but I always thought we were stable. Everything altered after the pandemic. Early quarantine wasn't horrible. We worked from home, spent more time together, and started new hobbies. I learned guitar, satisfying a lifetime dream. Lizzie baked bread and cookies, filling our home with aroma. Ross, 38, our neighbor, occasionally visit to chat over the fence or offer his homemade vegetables. Always willing to joke or help, he was affable. Not much thinking at the time. Lizzie grew distant as weeks evolved into months. She'd play on her phone for hours, turning away when I approached. When I questioned, she said she was reading social media or playing games. During lockdown, what more could I do but believe her? I tried to save our relationship. I cooked her favorite meals and decorated our living room like a restaurant for date nights. I tried to make her a birthday cake. We ate it despite its failure because she laughed. Lizzie kept withdrawing, despite my efforts. At 4 months into quarantine, I woke up early and saw Lizzie wasn't in bed. She might be in the kitchen, so I headed downstairs. The home was empty. She left Ross's house in her pajamas, as I watched from the window. I asked her about it when she returned. Just borrowed sugar for baking, she explained. Though weird, I didn't want to be paranoid, so I let it go. Things kept bothering me. When I tried to spend time with Lizzie, she was on her phone, accepting calls in another room, and irritable. I also noticed how she'd perk up when Ross came outdoors or find reasons to check the mail many times a day. Despite my skepticism, the signals were there. When I couldn't sleep, I checked our phone bill. I observed hundreds of texts and calls between Lizzie and Ross, often late at night or early in the morning. Heart plummeted. The next day I addressed Lizzie. At first she disputed everything. She broke down when I showed her the phone records. She acknowledged to a 3-month romance with Ross. Ross listened to her quarantine loneliness and trapped feelings. She said it was emotional at first. Eventually became tangible. Devastated. My lover, whom I thought I'd spend my life with, deceived me in the worst way. I'd considered our neighbor a friend. I remembered having Ross and his wife around for barbecues and helping them move in when they initially moved to the area. It made me nauseous. I told Lizzie I needed time to ponder and stayed with my brother. I conducted much soul-searching in the following weeks. I contemplated our marriage, our wonderful times, and whether I could trust her again. Lizzie was my rock when I lost my job during the recession a few years ago. 2 years ago, we endured a painful miscarriage that brought us closer. I'd think about her sneaking around with Ross and lying to me every day. They'd probably laugh at me behind my back. My blood would boil. I realized I couldn't overcome it. I couldn't repair the trust. I told Lizzie I wanted a divorce when I got home. She begged me to reconsider, stating it was a mistake and she'd do anything to fix it. She reviewed our past and future plans. But my faith was broken. Living next door to the man she cheated with, and wondering if it was still going on, was unthinkable. I left and divorced. Lizzie declined to sign the paperwork, saying we could negotiate. She advised couples therapy, a trial separation, anything to save our marriage. She consented when I showed her her phone records and text messages proving her infidelity. A few months later, the divorce is virtually final. I'm rebuilding my life in a modest flat. Some mutual pals sided, with some saying I should have tried more to save the marriage. They remind me of Lizzie's support when my dad suffered a heart attack last year and I was a mess. I don't think I'm terrible. I kept our promises and trust. My goal is to move on. Not easy. I miss our lives and anticipated future sometimes. We discussed having kids, buying a vacation property, and aging together. None of that remains. I sometimes feel like I'm making a mistake at night. I know I'm doing the right thing for me when I remember the betrayal and deceit. So Reddit, AITA for divorcing my wife after discovering her affair in quarantine. Update: much has happened since my last post a few months ago. First, I appreciate everyone's help and advice. It helped me through a tough moment. The divorce is final. It was hard, but I'm glad it's finished. Lizzie initially denied it, saying the affair was a one-time mistake caused by quarantine. But I showed months of text conversations, late-night calls, and security camera footage of her entering and departing Ross's residence. Finally, she quit. I didn't address how this affected our larger friends and family in my original piece. Lizzie's infidelity shook our social group like a bomb. She was supported by friends who said quarantine was hard on everyone, and I should be more patient. Others agreed, saying cheating is never justified. Tom, my college best buddy, was especially affected. Lizzie and I often double-dated and vacationed with him and his wife. After learning about the affair, he was almost as hurt as me. He felt deceived and couldn't believe Lizzie would hurt us all due to their friendship. His wife is having trouble removing Lizzie out of their lives. Mom and Dad were devastated. Lizzie was always adored and treated like a daughter. Mom cried for hours when I told them what occurred. My usually stoic dad appeared 10 years older overnight. However, they've been quite helpful. Mom calls me daily to check in, and Dad is helping me find a new place. Lizzie's family differed. Her parents were mad at me, not her. Their daughter made one mistake, and they accused me of abandoning her. Her sister called me to say I was wrecking Lizzie's life. To protect myself, I blocked their phones. I was close to Lizzie's family, making it harder. After my father-in-law died of cancer a few years ago, her dad became like a second father to me. Another terrible result of Lizzie's actions was losing that relationship. Ross left the neighborhood a month after my divorce. According to rumors, his wife discovered the affair and expelled him. I feel sad for her. This victimizes her as much as me. I met her at the store last week. Initial awkwardness turned into a long conversation. Explaining to their kids why Daddy doesn't live at home is difficult for her too. I was strangely grateful Lizzie and I didn't have kids. Work is difficult. Before working for various companies, Lizzie and I worked together. When word spread about our divorce, it was awkward. Some coworkers avoided me like the plague, while others craved gossip. I switched departments to escape. Starting anew in a new team is hard. Especially with everything else going on, it's better than my failing marriage's continuous reminders. My personal life is okay, some days are better than others. I'm seeing a therapist for trust difficulties. It's hard to fathom another relationship anymore. Opening up and being vulnerable again is daunting. I take each day as it comes. Their support has been fantastic. I've also reconnected with some old pals I lost touch with during my weekly online game nights are a wonderful distraction. We played a virtual escape room game last week, and I forgot about my problems for a few hours. Lizzie and I haven't spoken, except over the divorce. She was residing at our old house last I heard. Sometimes I pass by and see her car in the driveway, feeling like I'm staring at someone else's life. Sometimes I miss her. Miss our lives together. However, remembering the betrayal brings back the agony. Though angry and hurt, I'm hopeful about the future. I'm thrilled about the future for the first time in months. I'm planning a solo vacation whenever it's safe to travel again, something I've always wanted but never done. I'm considering the Appalachian Trail or European backpacking. Thinking about doing these things alone is daunting but exciting. No, I don't regret my choice. It hurts and isn't my dream future, but I know it's good for me. I deserve a faithful partner who respects me in our relationship. Reddit, thanks again for your support. It signifies more than you think. Update 2, over a year since my initial post I wanted to give you a final update. I'm considerably better now after all the changes. Start with the practical. Work brought me to a new city. It's nice to start over without painful recollections. My new coworkers don't know my background, so it's nice to be me instead of the cheating husband. The work is difficult but gratifying. I'm building AI for medical diagnosis, my passion. It feels good to contribute, even somewhat. Lizzie and I sold our house. Splitting the earnings was my last connection to her, and now I can move forward. My half went for a small condo down payment. Despite its small size, my first home feels like home. It's being furnished slowly. Carefully selecting each piece. Creating my own area has been therapeutic. Therapy has helped me a lot. I resolved several anger and trust issues. Yes, I still have moments where it all comes back, but they're rarer. I was apprehensive when my therapist suggested journaling, but it's been helpful. Writing about my feelings has helped me digest things. Unexpectedly, this struggle has brought me closer to my brother. He comforted me by letting me crash at his house and listening to me ramble for hours. We communicate virtually daily and are planning a brother's summer road trip. We want to drive the Pacific Coast Highway, something we've talked about since childhood. I've also reconciled with Alex, my college roommate. Because Lizzie never liked him, we drifted apart over the years. Now I understand I may have missed a red flag. I've enjoyed rekindling my friendship with Alex by seeing him often. Lizzie and I haven't spoken in months. Last time we sold the house, she apologized again, saying she'd made her biggest mistake. I explained that I forgave her for my own sake. Holding on to rage wasn't helping. I also stressed that forgiveness isn't reconciliation. We're done. That won't change. Through mutual friends, I learned that she and Ross tried to reconcile after their divorces but failed. Perhaps trust difficulties were too hard to overcome. Not surprised. Lizzie moved back home to be near her family, last I heard. I hope she's okay, but basically I'm glad to conclude that chapter. Fortunately, I've resumed dating. No big deal yet. Still, I've met some interesting folks. I'm slow and honest about my past and boundaries. Feeling butterflies again is scary yet exciting. Ellie is a woman I've been seeing for weeks. She's sweet, witty, and understands my slow pace. The outcome is unknown. I'm optimistic about a relationship for the first time in a while. Personal progress has been my focus. I concluded my quarantine started online guitar school. I've composed several tunes too. Despite their poor quality, they help me process my feelings. I also rock climb at a gym. I enjoy the challenge and mental clarity. Tell anyone going through something similar that it gets better. It may not seem like it, but you will survive. Surround yourself with supporters. Never hesitate to get professional help. Above all, be gentle to yourself. Some days I scarcely left bed. When anguish and betrayal overwhelmed. Little by little, it got easier. Going back, I don't regret ending my marriage. Did it hurt? Absolutely. I still mourn our life and future, but it taught me a lot about perseverance, myself, and what I want in a partner in life. Thanks to everyone who helped me along the way. Your kindness and wisdom were much appreciated. This chapter of my life is ending. However, I'll always appreciate this support. Life's imperfect. I still have bad days and unexpected discomfort. Still, I'm hopeful. I'm relearning to trust and connect with new people. For the first time in a while, I'm excited to see what the future brings. New beginnings and better days await.